Alright, bet. Today is the 9th of May, being a Saturday, and this video simply just going to be doing an overview and an update in relation to Ethereum. So I can't remember the last time I touched on Ethereum, but all I know is that I was looking for sell side deliverance, and we have not had that yet. So we had these two Kraken correlations that presented themselves here, and it was followed with this change in stay in delivery. And what we take notice to is the fact that, okay, we had this change in stay in delivery, series of up close candles, series of down close candles. We engage with it, deliver down towards sell side, present a Kraken correlation right here. So this would be a weekly low. BTC fails to engage with this weekly low when Ethereum engaged with this weekly low. And from here on out, we end up returning back into the range, grinding towards buy side in a very lethargic manner. Now, is it to say that this idea is invalid? Not yet, not necessarily. We do still have this change in stay in delivery, and we don't close above it. In relation to closing above the body close of our order block, we don't close above it, but it's a very deep retracement back into it, which is something that you'd rather not see. Especially with the fact that I was anticipating for, if this move was to deliver down towards sell side, it would be a very low resistance move down towards sell side. And there's characteristics that are tied with high resistance price action as well as low resistance price action. And when it comes to low resistance price action, you generally want to see the consequent encroachment of imbalances not be closed above or even engaged with. You'd want to see imbalances not even return to. You'd want to see mean thresholds of order blocks not engaged with, closed above, or simply very heavy one-sided price action. We have closure above the mean threshold of this order block as well as the upper quadrant. The only thing that's remaining would be the close and the high of this order block, which remains. We end up seeing price action delivering above it, wicks doing damage, and then we simply return back down into range. Now, with the return back down into the range, we end up delivering into this imbalance right here. Now, this imbalance is highlighted in orange because I was looking to see if this imbalance would be utilized as an inversion, but we're simply utilizing it as support at this current point in time. So if we're to draw from this candle's low all the way up to this candle's high and find where our discount remains, here you have your equilibrium. Under here you have this imbalance which resides in a discount, so this would be a discount imbalance. And we end up seeing how price action has been utilizing it, so we return into it. We're very shy around it, and then we're delivering back out away from it. So now what price action is caught in is currently in between this imbalance and this imbalance. So we have this bearish imbalance and then we have this bullish imbalance. This is what price action is currently caught in between. Neither is it ideal in terms of, if we're to have efficient closure outside of this bearish imbalance, that's not ideal. You don't want to see that. At that point, you're waiting for an injection of volatility to take price action out of the range it's currently stuck in. Now we have the previous month high that resides right here for Ethereum for April. So the month of April, this would be the high of the month. BTC has already engaged with it. Ethereum has failed to follow suit. This is why I'm still saying to myself that this idea isn't invalid just yet. When would I deem this idea invalid? If Ethereum is to come and engage with the high of the month for April as well as that February high of month, I'm going to then look for a completely new point of inception. As of right now, I'm still deeming all of this price action a potential point of inception for that sell side delivery motion. Now, quite frankly, I'm not really too fussed when it comes to Ethereum because this is something that's long plays. And even so, right now I'm projecting for that sell side delivery. But I mentioned in one of the overviews that if we are to come down here, engaging with all of this sell side as well as this external low right here, I'd look to see a Kraken correlation and then invite that buy side delivery motion for price action to ultimately continue delivering up towards buy side. Now, if we continue delivering up towards buy side as it stands right now, I'm not interested in anything in terms of shorts or longs. But if we can perhaps get that sell side delivery motion, engage with the external range low, then I'm interested in a potential reversal back into the range. But I'm still deeming all of this segment of price action a potential point of inception. Now, since this is a daily time frame, it means a lot more time needs to be submitted to. And I was thinking to myself, maybe my perception in relation to the amount of time this is going to take is a little bit skewed in terms of how long we've been hanging around here. But the only thing is that the way I analyze a 1 minute chart is the exact same way I'm going to analyze a daily chart, as well as any interval. The same way I analyze a 1 hour chart is the same way I'm going to analyze a 5 minute chart, vice versa. So if we are to pretend that this is a 1 minute chart and I was deeming this a point of inception, I would not like this one bit in terms of price action failing to leave our point of inception instantaneously instead we end up hanging around our point of inception. Right now, I would consider this distortion. But through the distortion, if we're to take a closer look right now as to what is going on, if we're still to say, okay, we're going to seek that sell side deliverance, we're going to look for reasoning as to why this should occur, when this should occur, where it should occur, and how it should occur. In relation to when, before these Kraken correlations were established here, I was saying that in an ideal world, this would happen during the month of May. So either Ethereum or BTC engages with the April high as well as that February high of month during the month of May, and that would invite for that sell side delivery motion. The only problem is that this occurred before the month of May, which is why I'm speculating that right now we're seeing distortion occurring on the daily chart. Perhaps during the second week of May, which we are about to roll into, maybe the sell side delivery motion could end up commencing. Where could this possibly occur from? Well, right now we're currently engaging with this SIBI. If this SIBI is utilized in an efficient manner for that sell side deliverance, we could end up seeing price action continuing that deliverance down towards sell side. And then why should we continue that deliverance down towards sell side? Well, we have clear drawn liquidities that reside right here. All of this TLP, as well as the fact that we have May that opened right here. Evident devil's mark on this monthly candle. We have not delivered under the monthly opening. In order for us to correct this devil's mark, we'd have to ensue sell side delivery. That's if we are going to correct this devil's mark. And with the correction of the devil's mark, we could potentially end up closing below this imbalance, the bullish imbalance that resides right here, utilizing it as a resistance and continuing that sell side delivery motion. To be quite honest, I'm no longer quite sure. And when I'm not sure, it requires more data to print on a chart, meaning more days need to elapse in order for me to arrive at a level of conviction as well as confidence in order to say, okay, this is what I'm going to look for. If we are to take a brief look at the correlated assets, so Ethereum being on the right, BTC being on the left, take a notice to the fact that BTC has already displaced above our April high of the month. Ethereum has failed to follow suit, so this high right here would be your April high of the month. Another issue that comes into play would be that the high of the month for both of these assets were created at different times. So the high of the month for Ethereum was established on the 17th of April, while the high of the month for BTC was established on the 27th of April. So if we're to take a look at the 27th of April candle on Ethereum, we take a notice to the fact that Ethereum actually engaged with it. So this high right here, we take a notice to the fact that Ethereum engaged with this high being that 27th of April, but the underlying factor still remains that the respective high of the month for April on Ethereum has not been engaged with. Now, what I do have in mind would be to pay a lot more closer attention to BTC rather than Ethereum in order to frame the idea for Ethereum, because if we're to take a closer look at BTC, we end up taking a notice of the fact that, okay, we displace through the April high of the month, and we do this forming an imbalance right here. And this imbalance has been utilized in a very efficient manner for that buy side delivery. So we've delivered down, engaged with this imbalance, as well as engaging with the April high of the month, and now we're currently delivering inside of this bearish imbalance. The only idea that I can frame at this current point in time would be for BTC to deliver up, engaging with this high that resides right here, and then a point of inception occurring for that sell side delivery motion. That is the only idea that I have in mind, as well as the fact that I would require to see a Kraken correlation establish itself right here. If Ethereum ends up following suit, then I'd simply no longer be interested in this idea. And I simply just may have been wrong in terms of when this idea may have occurred, or even if this idea was going to occur. We may just continue delivering up towards buy side from here on out, but this is the current speculation at this current point in time. If this idea was to unravel out, this would be very nice because elements of time and price are in alignment. This imbalance is displacing through time-based liquidity. This time-based liquidity, its respective high for the month of April on Ethereum was not engaged with. Kraken correlation residing right there. As well as the fact that, okay, we displaced through it, we've utilized it as support. If we utilize this imbalance as support to then engage with buy side, forming a point of inception for sell side delivery, change and stay in delivery, closing below this imbalance, we then look for this imbalance to be utilized as resistance to continue that sell side delivery motion. This is why this is the only idea that I can frame at this current point in time. When we're looking at the assets side by side, it looks as though Ethereum is, moving rather unwillingly in relation to engaging with this high. We're not delivering the exact same amount of range in terms of we can't measure them in relation to the price scale, but when we're looking at the candles themselves, when we're observing BTC, the imbalance that has printed here on BTC, we have already delivered above it. The body is currently above it. Ethereum, we're still under the consequent encroachment. So we're gauging order flow with the PD arrays that are being presented to us on both assets. So yeah, that is currently the only idea that I have in mind in relation to Ethereum in terms of, okay, BTC potentially coming up, cracking correlation, change in state delivery, deliver down towards sell side. Ethereum failing to engage with that high, change in state delivery, deliverance down towards sell side. And in relation to how I'm looking to execute on this, I'd be looking to execute on it on an intraday basis. So if the signatures present themselves, we have that daily change in state delivery X, Y, and Z. I'm then going to look to execute on an intraday time frame. So look for signatures confirming that order flow, as this is going to offer a nicer risk to reward in relation to the position to continue that deliverance down towards sell side. But that is pretty much it for Ethereum at this current point in time. We're observing the daily chart, so this is something that, well, it's going to take time. The submission to time is required right now. But yeah, that is currently it.